The council chamber on Nexus Station fell silent as Ambassador Kellic raised his multiple appendages in distress. "They've done it," he whispered. "The humans have settled their blood feud." 24 different species represented around the Iger crystalline table shared nervous glances. The Vortani Empire's representative, a towering insectoid named Thrax, clicked their mandibles anxiously. "Impossible. No one settles a grudge spanning 2 centuries. "The humans just did," Kellic replied, transmitting visual data to their shared network. "The Henderson conglomerate and the Mars Colonial Authority have merged their military forces." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The war between these 2 human factions had provided a convenient distraction for galactic powers seeking to exploit Earth's resource-rich system. Now that distraction had vanished. "But they hate each other," protested Ambassador Yoren, their aquatic form rippling with concern. "That conflict started over terraforming rights to Venus. They fought for 200 Earth years." "Not anymore," Kellic said grimly. "They've named it the Terran Defense Force." The implications crashed down like a collapsing star. For decades, the galaxy's predatory species had carefully manipulated the human civil war, selling weapons to both sides, mining their asteroid belts during the chaos, and gradually infiltrating their colonies with extraction operations. Admiral Karlov of the Terran Defense Force stood on the bridge of the UNS Retribution, formerly the Pride of the Henderson Navy. Beside him stood Commander Park, who'd defected from Mars Authority mere weeks ago. They watched as their combined fleet materialized from hyperspace at the edges of the Kepler system, where a Vortani mining operation had been strip mining human-discovered asteroids. "They won't expect this," Park said, studying the tactical display. "They should have," Karlov responded. "They gambled on us killing each other forever." The Vortani mining vessels barely had time to activate their shields before the human fleet opened fire. Unlike the outdated weapons they'd sold to humanity, designed to prolong conflict without decisive victories, the Terrans had spent 2 centuries developing their own technology. Electromagnetic pulse cannons disabled the Vortani, shields in seconds. Kinetic accelerators punched through their hulls like paper. When the dust settled, the Vortani ambassador on Nexus Station received an emergency transmission from their mining commander. They destroyed us," the commander stammered. "Our shields, our weapons, nothing worked. Human technology is decades ahead of what we sold them." "That's impossible," Ambassador Thrax insisted. "Our weapons were deliberately crippled to keep them fighting each other," the commander interrupted. "While they fought, they innovated. We didn't." Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. The Kiloran pirates, who'd been raiding human supply lines for decades, found their ships torn apart by human railguns. The Mercathian traders, who'd been price-gouging human colonies on vital supplies, discovered their trade routes blockaded by Terran vessels. On Nexus Station, emergency sessions ran through the night. "We need to organize a response," Thrax demanded. "The humans are out of control." "Out of whose control?" Kellic asked pointedly. "We engineered their civil war. We artificially prolonged it. And now they've seen through our manipulation." "But they're only one species," Yoren protested. "We've been spacefaring for millennia while they've barely left their solar system." "One species that spent 2 centuries refining the art of war," Kellic countered. "Do you know what they did? While we thought they were destroying each other, they were testing every weapon system we sold them, finding their weaknesses, and developing countermeasures." The truth emerged gradually. Human psychology, which the other species had dismissed as primitive and prone to tribalism, had been thoroughly misunderstood. Where other species saw endless human conflict, humans had developed a concept called constructive competition. Their civil war had become a proving ground for rapid technological advancement. Admiral Karlov addressed the galaxy 3 days after the first victory, broadcasting from the bridge of his flagship. "For 2 centuries, we fought among ourselves. During that time, we noticed a pattern. Every weapon system sold to us had built-in limitations. Every treaty you mediated seemed designed to prolong our conflict. Every trade deal favored the ongoing war economy." He paused, letting the reality sink in. "We're not stupid. We just wanted you to think we were. While you schemed, we learned. While you plotted, we adapted. And when we finally understood the game you were playing, we decided to change the rules. The Human Technology Sharing Initiative shocked the galaxy. Within months, human innovations in defensive shielding, faster-than-light communications, and medical nanotechnology were freely distributed to any species that acknowledged humanity's sovereignty over its claimed territories and agreed to non-interference principles. Some species, like the peaceful Delthani, welcomed the knowledge eagerly. Others, like the militaristic Krithar, attempted to exploit the technology for expansion. They learned quickly that humans had also developed countermeasures for their own innovations. The Battle of the Maelstrom Nebula became legendary when the Krithar Dominion, emboldened by stolen human shield technology, attacked a Delthani colony. They found themselves facing a human intervention force. The Terran Defense Force ships materialized from subspace like ghosts, their stealth technology rendering them nearly invisible until they struck. "You modified our shields," snarled General Brax as his flagship systems failed. "How?" "We designed them," Captain Williams responded over open communication. "Did you think we'd share technology without knowing how to counter it?" The Krithar forces retreated, and the balance of power in the galaxy shifted irrevocably. The Galactic Council found itself forced to acknowledge Earth as an equal power, not a primitive world to be exploited. Ambassador Kelek, now serving as a mediator between humanity and various galactic powers, reflected on the transformation. "We underestimated them because we misunderstood them. They didn't stop fighting out of weakness. They stopped because they'd achieved their real goal: unity through shared adversity and advancement through competition." Years later, a young human cadet named Alex Wong studied the historical texts in the Terran Defense Academy. "Professor," she asked, "did we really spend 200 years pretending to be weaker than we were?" Professor Martinez, a veteran of the integration period, smiled. "We weren't pretending to be weak. We were learning from everyone who thought we were. They showed us their weapons, their tactics, and their strategies, all while believing we'd never use that knowledge against them." "And now?" Alex inquired. "Now we defend our own. We share what we've learned with those who treat us as equals. And we make sure no species ever mistakes our capacity for peace as a weakness to exploit." Throughout the galaxy, the lesson resonated. Humanity had settled their score not through vengeance but through transcendence. They had transformed from divided victims to united innovators, proving that sometimes the greatest weapon is not strength, but the wisdom to use apparent weakness as a shield while forging real strength behind it. The age of manipulation had ended. The age of human ascendancy had begun, and across 1,000 worlds the galaxy remembered to quiver, not in fear, but in the cautious respect one reserves for those who have mastered the art of turning tribulation into triumph.